Hey everybody, Dr. Scott Keller. This week we're going to continue on with some stability work. For mobility this week, really we're kind of doing a full body movement here. So I would like you guys to continue to work on opening up the front of the hip. So couch stretches, hip flexor stretch. And then another great one for this one would be some lat, either foam rolling, banded lat stretch. Would be excellent because we're going to incorporate some arm movements today above our head. So this exercise is very common in the rehab world, physical therapy world. It's called the bird dog. At least most people know it as the bird dog. What we're going to do is really focus on kind of getting the core, so the central core here, the hips, and then also kind of working up into the scapular region as well. So there's going to be a lot that goes into this one, but if you just kind of use common sense and kind of make sure you're doing it correctly, you'll get it, and you'll get a pretty good warm up into the workout as far as getting those glutes firing, that core firing, and then also some scapular stability as well going. So basically, I'll explain the movement real quick first. You're going to be in what we call a quadruped position, so that means on all fours. Hands on the ground, directly underneath your shoulders, about shoulder width apart, and then knees are directly underneath the hips, about hip width apart. So common mistake here is to start too far back, too far forward with the hands, or too wide, or too narrow. So from the front, it's going to be about just like that, okay? The movement is going to be opposite leg and arm are extending, arm up, leg back, okay? I'm going to go over some common faults first, okay? So it looks like a really easy movement, and it really is an easy movement, but how you activate things is the important part. So please just do your best to kind of take each one of those key points. I'm going to kind of work from the head down to the toes, and as far as what the key points are for you to remember. And coaches, pay attention to this too, because this is what you'll want to correct on a lot of people, common mistakes we see. So from this position, first thing that's important is keeping the entire spine in a neutral position. So most common things we see are the neck kind of down like this or up like this. I want to keep my neck perfectly straight. Okay, so how you do that is kind of by what we call retracting the chin a little bit. So you can kind of get these front side deep neck flexor muscles activated by basically taking your chin back like this, maintaining that position throughout the entire exercise, okay? Through the rest of your spine, so thoracic and lumbar spine, I want you to find a neutral position. So basically, if you hyperextend and then flex, and you do that a couple times, basically just stop right in the middle, okay, where you feel like your back between your shoulder blades and all the way down to your lumbar spine is pretty flat, okay? That's where you also want to stay the entire time, okay? So those two things are super important during this exercise, okay? The next point of this is we want to brace our abdomen, okay, throughout the entire exercise. So the point of this is to kind of get the core stable and then incorporate the leg and the arm movement after that. So what you want to do is brace, what we've talked about in the past, so your rib cage should kind of go in a down position, okay, and then make sure you're breathing. And once again, this is a little advanced, but if you know what I'm talking about when I say breathe through your belly breathing, that would be ideal in this position. So as long as you're braced here though, that's all we're really worried about at this point, okay? So the most common mistakes we hear if we lose this stability in our core are a couple. As I move, I'm going to hyperextend my back, so I break the front of my core and I hyperextend in my low back. Another common fault is my hips will shift or rotate. So I'll either get a shift to the side or I'll get a roll in the pelvis like that. Obviously, we don't want either one of those. That's just showing us some instability through the hips, okay? So we want to keep that core and the pelvis as tight and basically not moving as much as we can, okay? So essentially, from the core down, this is what a proper motion should look like, okay? So stable, and then reach that leg straight back. We don't need to go very high with this, so just straight back, really fire in that glute that you're working on, stabilizing in the core, okay? The common errors in the arm movement, okay, is going to be obviously shrugging the shoulder. So what we want to work on with this part of the movement is keeping that scapula in a kind of a down and back position. Once again, this will all make more sense later when we go over shoulder stability, but for now, keep it in that down and back position, as you slowly reach up. If you feel like you're shrugging or you're coming up like this at all, okay, you're doing it wrong. You need to keep that shoulder down as you reach straight up like this. If you're really doing this correctly, you're actually going to feel it down through here, okay, and a little bit on the back side. So, proper movement throughout the whole thing. Go through the keys one more time. Neck retracted, spine neutral, cores tight and braced, okay, and then I'm going to go opposite leg, opposite arm, nice and slow, straight up like this without shrugging, and straight back with my leg without hyperextending or rolling. Okay, so hold for a couple seconds, come back slowly, set, and then you're going to go into the other arm and other leg. Slowly come back, set, and up. Okay? So do 20 total repetitions, so that basically means 10 on each side. And you know, once again, this one's a little bit more complex, a few more things to think about, but once you get this one down, it can be a really good rehab exercise to help any of you guys with, you know, any kind of hip issues, low back issues, and obviously, like I said, even up into the shoulders. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call or email, scott@synergylincoln.com, ask the coaches, and hopefully this one will go well for you guys, all right?